our Earth. Nearly 4.543 billion years old, self-regulating, self-healing, the source of all life on Earth. Yet, it is in danger, threatened by a truly global problem. Pollution from the remotest Pacific islands to the bottom of the Mariana Trench. Plastics, glass, aluminum, styrofoam, batteries, electronics, all pollute vast stretches of Earth daily. The solution is simple: creating a proper, sustainable solution for recycling waste. Fortunately, it has already started in the recycling depots.
How does this social sustainability works with these recycling depots? So we have to find out, and we need to go to one of the places that recycling happens, and we'll see how it goes on there. I'm Kemal, and I have my friends with me for our final project, and we also are going in to see how this works in the recycling depots and how it affects the social sustainability in the long term.
So today we are here at Rich Meadows Recycle Society. My name is Sujal Agnihotri and she is my friend.
My name is Baljeet.
My name is Anurag, and let's go inside.
Dan McCloy has been the environmental educator for the Ridge Meadows Recycling Society for the past 10 years. We asked him how it all started.
How many years this recycling plant is working on behalf of social sustainability?
Okay. So I started in 2008 working as an environmental educator, doing workshops in the community. The Recycling Society has been around since the early 70s. It was founded by 4 teachers. So they had 3 different aspects that they were really kind of focusing on. One was the environment, how to recycle all of this material, get it out to manufacturers with the least amount of footprint as possible. But also, how do we educate the community? How do we make them aware of how to recycle, what to recycle, and create a passion for recycling? And that's where the education part has come in. And then our third wheel is actually working with people with disabilities too. So we're being a part of the community, expanding who we are and our outreach.
Approximately 880,000 people live in the Ridge Meadows area, and they are proud to say majority of residential waste is recycled or composted.
What kind of things do you recycle for?
Well, here in Maple Ridge, what we handle at their depot is your standard stuff that most communities have in terms of paper, plastic, and cans and cartons, and glass. But we also at the depot have so many more things. So here you can drop off books, you can drop off styrofoam, black or color styrofoam and clear styrofoam, bicycles, batteries, smoke detectors, even oil, like motor oil, cooking oil you can drop off here, light bulbs, propane tanks, wires. We have lots of different things, and hopefully every year we'll continue to add to that list in order to reduce the waste in our community.
Daniel specially mentioned about propane tanks.
Propane tanks. So the small little camping ones that they have, along with the large ones. The big ones, the problem is a lot of people don't know that they can be recycled. They end up getting tossed, and they also have propane in them, so they can create a lot of problems.
So the next question is, where do you get from these recycling material?
Well, we get them from multiple sources. The first thing that we get is we work with Recycle BC. So we pick up from the curbside, and we have multiple containers. We have a red box that is for plastic, and then we have a blue box that's for cans and cartons. A gray box is for bottles and jars, and then we have a yellow bag for cardboard. So most of the materials that we get here at the depot are from there. So we ask the residents to sort into each container, and then on our trucks we also continue that sort. So then when they come to the depot, they drop it off into different sections and then we sort it again. So what happens is with our materials when they come in is we weigh them coming in and we weigh them going out, and the weight difference is less than 2%. So there's not a lot of stuff that gets thrown away here at our recycling society. Then we also have at our depot people from outside of the area or people that don't have curbside pickup. They'll come here and drop off materials. So, and then there's also materials that we can't have on the curb. Things like styrofoam or batteries or light bulbs, electronics, bicycles, metal, propane tanks, all of those kinds of things. We have a list called an A to Z list, which is a partial list of some of the things that we have and that you can bring in here. And hopefully every year it's expanding. We even have the ability to recycle cooking grease or cooking oil too, which is great for keeping the drains clean within the city, but also here in Maple Ridge we have a high bear population, and so this also is a attractant for bears. So this allows the bears to be able to eat their foods.
Do you face any difficulties or challenges?
Yes, we do have. Even though we're one of the oldest recycling societies in Canada, and we've been around for over 50 years, we have a lot of challenges every year. So we're also a fast-growing community, so we have people who recycle from other communities or maybe don't have the same kind of passion, and they'll just throw it out and put things that are contamination, things that don't belong there. So that is one of the major problems. So that's why we have to sort so much here, but also in my role as an environmental education is to go out to the community, educate them of what can be recycled and all the different aspects to it. The other challenge that we have is I also do wildlife education here in Maple Ridge, is with having bears and getting into garbage and compost and recycling. So we're working on educating people on how to store your materials safely and properly so that way bears don't get affected by it. And last year we had no bears here in Maple Ridge killed because of going into garbage or compost, which is wonderful.
Yeah. So what happens to the items after recycling?
So when it comes to the depot, either by a truck or a resident drops it off, we then process it. So what that means is that we'll sort it to make sure that we take out anything that doesn't belong with that particular item, and then we will bale it. So we have a baler that will bale like paper, tin, plastic, and then that gets loaded. If it was from the curb, it goes to Urban Impact, and then they process it and send it to their manufacturers. If it's from here, from the depot, it goes into a different truck, processed the same way, but they then, we get money back from that. That's a little bit of a different program. But we also have other EPR, Extended Producer Responsibility programs, like our oil. So we have a company that will then take that oil, that gets repurified and put into biodiesel, I believe. The same with like batteries, they get pulled apart and the metals reclaimed. Our electronics are one of the largest recyclers of electronics in all of BC. That goes out to Trail, and then all of the metals and anything that can be extracted from those materials then get pulled out and gets to be recycled.
The fibres head for a conveyor where workers pull out boxboard and cardboard for separate recycling. And they pull off any trash that might have sneaked by the first steps. The plastic and metal containers are headed for a special machine called a ballistic screen, whose rows of paddle arms weed out any leftover fibres and drop the containers onto their own conveyor. The workers on the next line are looking for plastic containers like jugs, tubs and bottles. These plastics may end up as plastic or composite lumber, bottle caps, or even fleece sweaters. Each worker on this line is looking for a different type of plastic to sort, and each type of plastic needs to be kept separate. That's because every type of plastic is different. Companies that buy the kind of plastic used in water and soda bottles, for example, don't want other plastics. The color of the plastic can also make a difference. A colorless plastic milk jug is worth more because it can be made into more things than one that has been colored orange or blue. Ferrous metals, or metals with iron pass, under a high-powered electromagnet, which lifts them off the conveyor and drops them down a chute into a bunker below. After all the paper, plastics and metal are sorted out, they're each baled into giant cubes that weigh up to 1,700 pounds apiece. These bales are worth a lot of money.
So what are the main outcomes in terms of social sustainability that the organization expects?
Our main outcomes is what we're working towards is zero waste. So what that means is that the materials that you use gets reused and nothing ends up in the landfill or a small percentage of it. So we're on our way to that. Our curbside recycling program has about 56%, and then when you add into it compost, it gets into another 20-25%. So that's getting close to where the numbers that we need in order to create this sustainability. Our challenges that we have with it is that we have lots of people coming into our city from outside. So there's lots of education that is needed to be able to let people know this is how we recycle it, and more importantly, this is why we want to recycle. A lot of times people will see recycling as just another form of garbage and treat it as such. And then that commodity, that product can be used. So for instance, 1 ton of paper that gets recycled saves 17 trees from being cut down. That's a major important thing. Recycling a ton of cans saves a lot of water and mining and CO2 gas instead of having those materials being new again. And that can be reused over and over and over again, which is fantastic, and that's what we want to do. So this morning, what we do is I had a depot tour with some 3-year-olds and showed them all the big equipment and exciting stuff that we have around here from a 3-year-old's perspective, and they were just fascinated. And so with that fascination, we want to create that interest in being of taking care of the earth and the world. 1 3-year-old brought out a box so that they could drop it in and watch it getting recycled and put into a bale. Those are memories that we hope will last, that then they carry on as they get older and carry on with their children.
Earth is the only place in the universe known to harbor life. It gave us life. We also need to give back, making it a good place to live.